Hi, welcome. It's an honor and privilege to be here, although this is a pre-recorded. Thank you, Nurse for Future, for having me here. Sharing with you this webinar, I'm Ruby Dragicevic. I am an overseas Filipino nurse working here as a head nurse in nursing practice here in Doha, Qatar. Today's webinar is about the future of nursing is international. What are the challenges behind it? And I have something to tell, but okay. Before I decided to become a nurse, I dreamed to become a politician because I want to change the world. Okay, but far beyond to become a nurse and working overseas. But what makes me become a nurse? What makes me bring here work overseas? So let's find out on our next slide. Okay. The presenter has no actual or potential conflict of interest in relation to this presentation. Okay, let's talk about migration, specifically nursing migration. If we said nursing migration or our nurses from the original country going outside their country or relocating themselves to another place, even inside their country, that is called migration. But if you will going out to the country, going to China, going to Middle East, that is called the nursing migration. Okay, but prior to that, I hope that at the end of this webinar, we will be able to discuss the overview of Nurse of the Future concept and thinking like a nurse. Also to discuss about the international nurse migration and to answer the following question. How and why do nurses leave their countries? And what are the factors influence their decision to leave the country? Or how and why international foreign trained nurses are affected by the global forces. So in this webinar, if you said leave your home country to practice your nursing profession in a foreign country, so when we are studying, we plan already either we will stay on our own country or to work abroad. If you want to work abroad, meaning you're adventurous, you want to meet new people, you want to see new things, or you want to earn money to support your family, or you want to grow professionally because you will be exposed with the different cultures, with the different practices, with the standards, okay? And of course, to make more money. Myself, I was graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing in 1999. And as soon that I passed my licensure, migrating from my province, from La Union, and going to Manila, so I work in the Clinic of the Holy Spirit. At the same time, until reach on 2003, I went here in Qatar, and I'm staying here already for almost 2 decades, 19 years, okay? I finished my master's degree with the Philippine Women's University last 2015, and now I'm starting to have my PhD in nursing, also with the same school, Philippine Women's University. And now I'm still working as a head nurse in nursing practice and as a NDNQI site coordinator of Romila Hospital. Okay, moving on. So, but what is the reason why I still working abroad? It's quite a long time. Well, that is the reason is almost infinite. I think it is an individual and very personalized reason actually. But on my own reason is my personal perception is to work with a positive professional practice environment. Aside that I am earning and have a better quality of life, I have already finished almost what I want on my life. I mean, studying master's degree. Now I'm starting to studying on my PhD grad. And hopefully in the future, I can also publish my own book. Okay, all right. I guess that is the one how I answer my question. So 2020 is our year. Yes, indeed, it is our year because it's also the year of COVID-19 pandemic. That is according to the Organization of Economic Cooperation Development, published on 2021. Yes, because they recognize us as the hero without a K. Remember when you are working during 2019 when the pandemic starts, All the flight was canceled. We cannot go home. We are crying. Our mental health is at stake. You are lucky if you're working to your own country. But how about us? Well, we struggle actually. The nursing profession is one of the essential components of healthcare. That is according to the International Council of Nursing. Yes, it's true because we are the backbone. We are the arms. We are the hands. We are the legs of the healthcare organization. And according to the World Health Statistic Report, that approximately there is 3.9 million nurses and midwives working in United States alone. And globally, we have 27.9 million nurses and 9 out of 10 nurses worldwide are female. So the female nurses is really vulnerable because we have kids, we have parents. Who will take care of them if you're already living abroad? Right? Unless you will take it them. You will take them with you. Okay, moving on the next 10 years, according to the study of the state of work of nurses published by WHO, they need 13 million of nurses worldwide on the next 10 years. So meaning, until 10 years, I still have my chance going to America or going to Europe or going to Germany. Because see, 13 million. Okay, moving on to the next slide. So, if we said about the nurse of the future concept, what makes you think? Okay, what molds us to become a nurse and what equips us to migrate? Okay, first is knowledge. If we said knowledge, this is the cognitive aspect of competency. We are demonstrating a grasp of nursing roles and responsibilities. It is our ability to apply of knowledge and specific skills. Okay, knowledge, we acquire it during our college days, our nursing time. Okay, skills. How about skills? Skills is we acquire during our experience, our first experience. Remember when we are exposed our first hospital exposure? Okay, skills is not only what we are applying for the psychomotor skills and to the related specific activities of our nursing care. It's also about communication. Here we learn how to communicate. We learn to have interprofessional or interrelational relationship with our physician, with other multidisciplinary team, and to our patient, how we can communicate to them as well as to their family. We came here to work. We came here to give comfort to our patients. So communication is an essential skills. And of course, our attitude, the way how we view morally, caring, our ethics, our love, our passion to the profession, the respect and care of patient. These are all our core attitude. This is our positive attitude. And if to sum it up, we can establish a good relationship of trust, rapport, cooperation between our multidisciplinary team as well as to our physician, to our patient, and to their families. With this, you are equipped with knowledge. Of course, you know what you are talking about. It is based on science. Skills, what we learn in knowledge is we can apply on our skills. And attitude, is this right or wrong? Is this good for my patient or bad? These are the our good social skills in communicating. So to sum it up, this is the knowledge, skills, and attitude. If we will if we can memorize on this one, these are the KSA. This is equip us. Even if you're working in your own country or even if you are working abroad, this equip us, the knowledge, skills, and attitude. Okay, moving to the next slide. Okay, nursing competence plays a large role in ensuring patient safety. Yes. And thinking like a nurse, what it is mean? It is embraces the full context of daily metacognitive process nurses use to provide a competent nursing care. And it is written, it is having an evidence-based literature. And there are 4 attributes of it, which is critical thinking. There is a problem, so we're using now our knowledge. Critical problem, we think on our knowledge. What we learn from the books, what we learn from the literatures, what we learn from our experience. So to find the solution. Okay. Aside from critical thinking, now we will go our clinical judgment. So, aside that we will think, we will have our skills, we will have our knowledge. This is now having the critical reasoning to make a sound decision making based on those what you have read from your books or from the literatures, from the articles. So, critical thinking is intellectually disciplined process of actively, skillfully conceptualizing, questioning, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, or evaluating information gathered from or generated from observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, or communication, or from your books itself. And this will guide us to the belief and action. It is formed from your school and your experience. If we said also clinical judgment, this is now includes your critical thinking, which is your knowledge and skills, and your reasoning related to ethical, legal, and regulatory issues. That's why there are set of policies, set of competencies that we are following. And based on that, now we will go to our moral reasoning. Moral reasoning is this is now where your attitude comes in. Is this right or wrong to my patient? Is this bad or good to my patient? And this is comprised all the professional competence. So knowledge is power, and human caring is also. It is complementing each other. So critical thinking, which is our skills and knowledge, we learn from the school, we learn from our experience. And our moral reasoning is our attitude. And how compromise of that is our, how we can judge on that is our clinical judgment. To compromise all the professional competence. Okay, moving on. I want you to reflect this video. It's which is speak imagine why nurses are leaving their beloved country and what are the...
Imagine a health worker.
It's simple, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Let's imagine she's...
Or she's...
Imagine she's a he.
Let's stick with a her. What about we call her Flo?
Florence.
Flo.
The thing is, whatever a health worker looks like, whatever she's called, imagine this. She saves lives every single day.
She's amazing.
But like many of us, she dreams of more.
Imagine that dream takes her to the big city.
You don't have to imagine that. This is what happens, time and time again. She might get a job at a private clinic. Or maybe she moves abroad to chase her dream.
Look, here she is in London.
She's working in a hospital.
Now imagine what's happened to us.
The people she left behind.
My wife died when she gave birth with no health worker to help her. Nobody in our village gets vaccinated.
Our children are dying from pneumonia and diarrhea.
We don't know how to protect ourselves from HIV and malaria. It would only take one health worker to show us. There are 2,000 people in our community, yet we don't have a single health worker.
Where's the health worker?
Where is
she?
It's hard to imagine 1 billion people.
It's harder still to imagine a billion people without a health worker.
Okay, cheer up. Imagine this.
Imagine she stays. What would it take to make her stay?
Imagine investing in her. Imagine paying her a living wage.
Imagine giving her quality training that she can pass on. And imagine giving her the proper tools for the job.
Now she's got support.
She feels safe. She's also got the respect of the people around her.
We listen to her and we learn.
She is important to us and we value her.
Imagine what would happen then.
Over the years, she could save hundreds of lives.
She could inspire and train hundreds of others to become health workers like her.
I could be one of them.
So could I.
Each of us could be saving lives in our own communities.
Imagine that.
And then imagine what happens next. And then?
And then, a health worker for everyone, everywhere. Imagine that.
Now help us make it happen.
Okay, all right. I hope that you have watched the video and you can reflect on it. And you can tell us the feedback later on. Okay, moving on to our next slide. Okay, now we will talk about the selected countries, OECD countries, with the percentage of foreign trained nurses. On my next slide, I will mention it, how many nurses that now, foreign trained nurses that not practicing on their own country. Okay. The number one is New Zealand, which is the first higher importer of the foreign nurses. Second will be Australia, then followed by UK. Then a rank position of Canada, Germany, and Norway are important for the fourth, and then USA, and also now Chile, Denmark, France, Netherlands, Portugal, also now they are importing nurse, and of course Ireland, which is not included, but there are also importing nurses. Okay, moving on to the next slide. My source, by the way, is OECD 2020. Okay, now as I told you, there is approximately 3.7 million nurses, and 1 in 8 are practicing in other country other than the one in which they were born or trained as a nurse. This is according to the State of World Nursing report on 2020 by the WHO. Okay, the trivia is what country is the top sources of nurses? Supplying Middle East, Europe, USA, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and Ireland, and other parts of the world. Okay, maybe you can have a wild guess on it. So 70% of this of nursing graduate of this country has been working abroad or working outside the country itself. So let's see, it's Philippines. Okay, why Philippines? I know that is a question. Well, the Philippines is the largest exporter of nurses globally, with the well-established international nursing training program. It is highly recognized internationally. For the past few decades, we are consistently supplied nurses to the United States, Middle East, particularly in Saudi Arabia. And then now the recent market is open, including United Kingdom, Netherlands, New Zealand, Ireland, Australia also now, Germany. Okay, most of the Filipino nurses work abroad for various reasons. I said it's an infinite. It is infinite. But primarily to gain world-class experience and exposure, of course, to the gold standard of nursing care, and ultimately to increase our income potential to support our families back home. So more on economic reason also, what push out was push up us, the nurses, to migrate. And because of the competitive compensation package, I mean, Work-related benefits also is the lower nurse to patient ratio, because Philippines, we are handling 1:25, if I'm not mistaken. Way back when I was there, we are holding it for in one shift with 100 patients, we're only 5 nurses. Okay, then more flexible hours and opportunity to upgrade nursing skill at the same time advancing our education also. Okay, and the opportunity of our family members to migrate as well and to travel and learn other cultures and improve. And of course, one of the reason also why I'm here is the influence of peers and relatives. So what next country is India. Aside that they are the one of the most populated country, of course their nurses also have same reason with us, I believe so. It's about better future, better income, better opportunity. And lastly is Caribbean countries. Some of the Caribbean countries, they are exporting their nurses also. Africa, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Egypt also, they are exporting also their nurses now. Korea and China, and not to mention also Jordan. This is according to the State of the World Nursing uh, report on 2020. So that is our trivia. So next is we will talk about pushed by their home countries and pulled by recipient countries to migrate. Okay, what are the push and factor? So mostly are economic. So next is political, professional, of course, the growth, personal, and if we're thinking about economic is about the low salary, financial, and limited career opportunities. We don't have available jobs in our own country. So limited educational opportunities, of course, because education is quite expensive. Next is lack of resources to work effectively, especially if you're assigned on the remote areas. If you can remember the video, that is one of the reason also. And dangerous working conditions. So it will compromise your safety. Then lack of social and retirement benefits when we get old. Okay, what pull us? Better future, availability of job opportunities, upscaling, higher salary, citizenship. Well, citizenship is if you are planning to migrate in US or even in UK or Australia or Canada, they are providing the citizenship. Then social and retirement benefits, yes. Then career advancement, yes, because you can do now your further educations. And at the same time, humanitarian reason is it is in the middle, push and pull. Push when your country obliged you to go to certain that needed your services. Okay? Pull is if you have a big heart and you want to volunteer to any non-government or even WHO or even in UN. Okay, and next is nurses are adventurous. That are the push and factor that push us going out to our country to work abroad, and these are the pull factors also that why we want to go there. Okay, on my 10th slide. Okay, what are the challenges of migrating nurse? Okay, difficulty in processing requalification. Example, you want to go to US, you must take NCLEX. You want to go to UK, you must take the English exam. You want to go to Middle East, they have also really requalification exam now. Okay, next is costs. Okay, if you are from the remote area or from the province area, you want to go to big city because the agency is only there, so you need money. You need transport. You need money to feed you daily. Then, immigration procedure, still you need money. Then, plus your money also that been processed by the agency. You need to pay them. I think there is no free agency. You are been lucky if the agency is not asking you any money. Next is adapting to different clinical practices. Of course, back home or you're back on your country, you have different clinical practices. So you need to adapt now to the new system of their clinical practice. Then next is longing for what is missing. One of the factor of what makes us different, the nurses of the Filipino nurses, we know how to speak English fluently because as early as 3 years old, we've been trained to speak in English. So this is one of our advantage actually. However, maybe other different is what we are longing also is the culture, what we miss, the food. We have a different food back home in the Philippines. There is a different food back here in Middle East or even in Europe. So you miss all those. Okay? The culture itself, here in Middle East, we cannot practice freely our Christian faith. We have freedom, yes, but there are some still, we need to respect their culture. Okay? We need to adapt their culture. Next is communication barrier. Way back 2003 when I was new, I do not know any single word of Arabic. It takes me 6 months to 1 year, I think, to learn and how to comprehend, to understand the language of Arabic. I even tried to enroll, but unfortunately, I am not successful to learn how to write. Read, I can read a little bit. Okay, adjusting to a new culture and environment. I have already discussed that one. Next is discrimination and marginalization. Okay, here in discrimination, here in Middle East, we don't have that much that problem. Unlike in US, I think they have a high rate of discrimination, especially on the Asians, and at the same time with the Africans descent or the blacks. Okay, next is professional development and evaluating, because we have a different how we are developing our professionalism differently from them. So personal and professional differences, it's just the same with the professional development and evaluating. Then a meaningful support system. Okay, if you're in abroad, you are lucky if you have friends, but what if not? So how we are addressing those challenges? First is multipassive transitioning programs, which is in the provider country should have a pre-departure orientation seminar. What is this? This one are the seminars that they are introducing about the country that you're going, their language, their culture, their gestures, what are the norms, what are the accepted, not accepted behavior. It's a short course actually, or a short seminar. It's 1 day in Philippines. Then next is culturally sensitive body system from the host country. Here in Qatar, we have a general nursing orientation, which includes awareness of culture and language. So here they will also partner you with the local or nurses who are already senior nurses who are very long time there, so that you will learn what is the culture and what is the acceptable norms and not acceptable norms. Then next is learning of colloquial language, simple language, at least you should know, and non-verbal gestures or behaviors. So because we came from different country, maybe the acceptable gestures in your country is not acceptable to one country. Like look, when you are talking to a person, it's normal to us to look eye to eye. But here in Middle East, man or women cannot look to the eye of the man if they're talking. Or giving thumbs up is not acceptable to them. Okay, but this is embedded on our cultural competency also. They will teach you. Then nurse network system and support system. Nurses for Future is a very good platform for network system. It's because for example, me, if I will plan to migrate in Germany, if there is nurses who are members of the Nurse for Future, maybe they can lend me a hand to support me during that time that I will be in Germany, or if I will be staying in Germany. Same also if you're in US or in UK or in any parts of the world who has a member of the Nurse for Future platform. Okay. Next is so we have, if you remember if you have watched the video, there are positive and negative effects of nurse migration. So the effect of nurse migration is nurses who migrate from developing country to developed country tend to leave behind the healthcare system already that it's in the state of deprivation. So there is a malicious cycle in the healthcare system. Deprived healthcare system from the source country. The migration of nurses from poorer nations creates a vicious cycle within the healthcare system. So here, remaining nurses at the source country will increase their workload, resulting to stress and compromising the well-being also. So we are giving the risk. So next is increase in remittance. This is the positive one. Increase the remittance to the source country. But not all our remittances are going to the healthcare. Okay, during the pandemic, we have seen this. And I think that is the final of my last slide. So before summing up all, I want to leave this note to you. A nurse professional identity is formed as soon as they decide to become a nurse and embark on their educational journey. This is one of my excerpt in my academics journal. So I hope that you can remember me because of this quote. So any question, although I know this is only a pre-recorded, I'm willing to answer all your questions pertaining to my presentation. And thank you so much for listening. Again, I am Ruby Dragicevic, head nurse for nursing practice here in Doha, Qatar. These are all my references. Thank you again, Kuala Puno, gracias, danke, and have a good day. And I hope that you have learned from my lecture today. Thank you so much. And again, Nurse for Future, thank you. Mabuhay ka.